Here's what the top of the La Liga table looked like. Real Madrid in first place. They got Cádiz on Saturday with a win, and Barcelona dropping points later in the day against Girona. Real Madrid will be your champions of La Liga. For more on the Spanish top flight, let's welcome into the show Alex Kirkland. Alex, as we mentioned, Real Madrid about to win the league. Any reason to suggest it won't happen this weekend?
Well, like you say, the equation is very simple. Tomorrow they have to beat Cádiz at home, and Barcelona have to drop points away at Girona, and Real Madrid are champions. Reasons to doubt whether that will happen? Well, Cádiz, of course, are battling relegation. Real Madrid have their eye on a Champions League semi-final, the second leg coming up against Bayern Munich next week. Carlo Ancelotti would probably pick a much-rotated team for this Cádiz game, but still at home at the Bernabeu against a team which, yes, are fighting for their lives, but that's because they have been poor for much of the season, Cádiz. You'd expect that Real Madrid have the quality, even if it is a Real Madrid B team, to get the job done. And then let's see what happens to the game immediately after that. As I say, it's Barcelona travel to Montilivi to play Girona. If Real Madrid do it, if they do win the league tomorrow, we understand there won't be any big celebrations, or at least any big celebrations involving the players. The fans may well head to Cibeles, which is where Madrid traditionally celebrate their trophy wins, but the players won't be heading there tomorrow exactly because they've got this Champions League semi-final second leg next week against Bayern. They've got to focus on that, of course. The celebrations, when they come, will come a bit later. Now, of course, if Real Madrid don't win the league against Cádiz, they've got plenty of time. They'll still have 4 more games in La Liga left to go, and at some point they will get over the line. They are so close. But I guess from their point of view, it would be nice to get it done sooner rather than later so they can really focus on the Champions League, having the La Liga title in their back pocket.
Alex, it looks like Thibaut Courtois is going to start this game against Cádiz. Obviously, he's missed most of the season. Same can be said for Militao. Obviously, Benzema's been gone since the summer. How do we put into perspective all that Real Madrid has accomplished this season, given those absences?
Yeah, I kind of feel like we've gotten so used to the absence of Courtois, the absence of Militao, the absence of David Alaba, with those long-term, all 3 of them suffering ACL tears. Militao and Courtois back in August, Alaba a little bit later. We've gotten so used to it that we've kind of forgotten about it, right? It feels like the season's just kind of gone on, and we've gotten used to, oh yeah, it's Andre Lunin in goal. Oh yeah, of course, it's Rudiger and Nacho at the back. But when you think about it, Thibaut Courtois, for a lot of people, I think would be the best goalkeeper in the world, or certainly the conversation for the top 3 or the top 5, an absolutely key player for Real Madrid. Eder Militao, a lot of people would have said going into this season, he was Real Madrid's #1 defender. Now, of course, with the form of Antonio Rudiger this campaign, there's maybe a bit of debate there, but nonetheless, Militao, a world-class defender. David Alaba, a really good player and a big name, a vastly experienced player as well. So I think when you factor in those 3 absences for such a long time, we've also seen injuries at times for other big players, not as lengthy, but significant absences for Vinicius Jr., a couple of injuries for Jude Bellingham as well. I think the way that Real Madrid have dealt with all of that is really admirable. It also says a lot, of course, about the strength in depth of Real Madrid's squad and the ability that Carlo Ancelotti has as a coach to cope with some of these absences. So yeah, I think it's really impressive. The fact that Real Madrid are so far ahead at the top of the table, I think says as much about the failings of others. Of course, Barcelona, difficult season for them. They've recovered quite a bit since Xavi first announced that he was leaving and then went back on that. Of course, we had Girona, who surprised everybody, but ultimately fell away, starting with a big loss at the Bernabeu. So I think the story of this season has been about Real Madrid being strong, improving on last season, Barcelona dropping away a little bit. But yes, also Real Madrid's ability, given the strength and depth they have, to cope with injuries to very significant players. And like you say, Carlo Ancelotti saying Thibaut Courtois will start against Cádiz. He also said, however, Andre Lunin will start against Bayern in the Champions League semi-final second leg next week. When he was asked, well, who plays in a hypothetical Champions League final then, which of course would then be the big question if they go through against Bayern, he wouldn't say. He said, we'll see. I think that's basically because there's still a month to go until a possible Champions League final. A lot can happen between now and then in terms of assessing Thibaut Courtois' fitness and exactly how ready he would be to play a game of such magnitude. But that starts, as I say, with him getting a start against Cádiz.
Kasey, what would you do? Would you put Courtois in for the second leg?
No, probably not.
Really?
I think, fitness is different for goalkeepers. It's more of a mental fitness than necessarily a physical fitness. Yeah, he's fit enough to obviously get to play a game, but it's all about the quickness of reading how a game develops. And you can only do that with matches and having and matches that matter. Yeah, a preseason match is great. It has its benefits. But really, you want to be that match form in that quickness of thought. And to do it after that length of time away, have one game against Cádiz, who I would expect
You're not going to get a lot of action.
You're not going to have a lot to do. And then be thrown straight in a couple days later.
What about a final? What about a final?
I also don't know if he's going to get an accumulation of matches to get where he needs to be in a final. Look, Lunen's had a great season. Is he Thibaut Courtois? No.
Right.
But is he Thibaut Courtois after 8 months out and only having a handful of games that matter? I don't think Thibaut will quite be ready for that.
As a coach, Stevie, what do you think of the job Ancelotti did this season?
Oh. Well, for a team that had so many injuries, and not just to bit-part players, but big players, particularly Courtois, to wrap the league up and be in the Champions League semi-final, favourites to win it. I mean, it's fantastic, but are we surprised? You know, we did say at the time when all these injuries happened, if there was one man that can possibly keep this team together, keep it ticking over, keep it winning, keep it at the top of the league, Ancelotti's the man. Well, every single thing that we thought this guy was about, he's proven it again and some, because absolutely incredible job to get this team to where it is.
But I also agree with Alex that it's also a state of what the other
big
boys have done. We know the financial troubles with Barcelona, and they haven't been able to strengthen off of last year. In fact, they've clearly gone backwards. I also look at the squad of Atletico Madrid. I've called Atletico Madrid a bunch of times this season. And you watch them at times and you think, particularly at home, and you're like, they should be challenging.
Right.
And then you watch them on the road and you go, oh, what happened from this week to last week? And I think a lot of that combination of those two big boys not being consistent from where they need to be, and the magic of Ancelotti and the players stepping up when they've needed them to, has really, give a big credit to Real Madrid.
Alex, as we look at this Real Madrid, we mentioned they've got to win, but also need some help. Barcelona away against Girona, fair chance they do slip up, yeah?
Quite possibly. I mean, as I was saying, Girona have been one of the best teams in La Liga this season. Yes, they've dropped off in the second half of the season. Yes, they couldn't maintain that incredible title challenge that had everybody talking in the first half of the campaign. But Girona's still a really impressive team. Nicol, a fantastic coach, packed full of good players. Barcelona, I mentioned, they have been better in the last couple of months. They have picked up their results since Xavi first said that he was leaving. Of course, they lost the Clásico against Real Madrid, but that was really close. It came down to one goal and an added time winner from Jude Bellingham. So Barcelona generally playing pretty well. I think it'll be tight. I think it'll be a good game. But yeah, there's no reason to presume that Barcelona will certainly go and get the win. So that's why I think there's every chance of Real Madrid getting the league wrapped up this weekend, because I would back Madrid to beat Cadiz at home, and I would back Girona to get something against Barcelona. Maybe not a win, but maybe a draw, enough at least for them to drop points, which, like I say, would be La Liga wrapped up. But yeah, it should be a cracking game because, like I say, Girona everyone's loved watching Girona this season. They've got so many talented players from Savio out wide to Alex Garcia in midfield. They've got goals, of course, one of the leading goal scorers in La Liga in Dobvik, who no one expected to be at the top of the goal scoring charts at the start of the season. He's there, one of the stories of the season, no question. And it would be a nice, Girona looking pretty much certainties now to finish top four. They're there in third place at the moment. They could even still finish ahead of Barcelona in second. And of course, this game and this result would play a big part in deciding that, who finishes second in La Liga. And if Girona could do that, yes, they're not going to win the league. But if they could finish second behind Real Madrid, yes, but ahead of Barcelona, ahead of Atleti, ahead of a whole host of other clubs who are bigger traditionally than Girona, that would still be a remarkable achievement, I think.